Good evening, everybody. How are you this evening? Let me light my candles. And we'll put some incense on as well tonight, I think. Like we did the other night. Oh, that's not good next to the paper. Et voila. Good evening, everybody. Oh, thank you very much for the hearts. Oh no, stop. What's happened? Oh no, I'm going to get a toilet. I'm going to get a toilet advert now. That's bad. We'll start again, shall we? Why has it gone so dark all of a sudden? Let me see. Oh, I know why. Because those candles are burning in the background, that's why. This is one of my favorite pieces of piano music, and it is by Claude Debussy, and it is called Reflet dans l'eau. And I am very sorry if, thank you very much, the man. I am very sorry if I just bastardized. I actually got changed 3 minutes ago. Because 3 minutes ago, I looked at myself in the camera, because of course that's what we always do before we start to make sure that everything's okay. I'm just going to move this down ever so slowly. And I suddenly decided I hated what I was wearing. Oh, here we go. See that? My machine is competing with those candles. And I hated what I was wearing. So I decided to change. And that's what I did, because that's my prerogative. Good evening, Ahmed. Hi. Hi, everybody. It's so lovely to see you this evening. So a little bit of change from Arabic music, Middle Eastern music this evening. Excuse me for saying Arabic, Middle Eastern music this evening. And doing some beautiful classical Debussy, because I love Debussy and I love Chopin. And actually, if you can see my piano behind me, I am learning Chopin at the piano at the moment. So there you go. And this evening, to start off the evening, I also thought, because I'm on my own and I can do it, I would read something else to begin with. So I'm going to have that beautiful music playing in the background. And I don't know where it is with you around the world, but right now in Vienna, I know that France and Germany, if anyone from France and Germany ends up listening in, hello, good evening, or good morning, whatever time of the day it is for you. I know that all over the world, hi Salahadin, I know that all over the world lockdowns are happening again, if they haven't already happened. And I know that they are happening though, and it looks like we are going in to our second lockdown here in Austria. And I'm not, actually, I have been given by a very reliable source what those dates are for the lockdown, but I am being told under strict instructions that I'm not allowed to say anything. But there's all sorts of rumours cursing around at the moment as to what the lockdown will look like. And it's not going to be as strict a lockdown as last time, but certainly it may be that restaurants end up closing, and I hope not, but probably theatres and stuff as well. So I know a lot of people were online today, certainly friends of mine. Certainly friends of mine in Vienna were online today on Facebook and other parts of social media, and they were very, very worried. So I chose a poem to read to you, a couple of poems actually, because some of them, I've got some love poems to read to you, and which I just thought I could do, because sometimes a change is as good as a rest. So I've got some love poems to read to you, and I've got a poem to read to you about being strong. Okay, and I thought, hi Dunya, hi, it's lovely to see you this evening. And I thought a poem about being strong might be kind of fitting, I was just about to say permitting, fitting in the current climate as we go through a second bout of this strange lockdown. So, without further ado, I am going to read to you a very, very famous British poem by the writer Rudyard Kipling called If. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good, nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster, and treat those two impostors just the same. If you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things that you gave your life to broken, and stoop and build 'em up with worn-out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings, and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it. And which is more, you'll be a man, my son. So, that was my special poem to you this evening, and I might read one again at the end, just because I like reading poems. So, without further ado, I am going to continue where I left off, because somebody didn't realise that they read some of my evenings yesterday, and read to you from, and I hope I've got this right, the 181st night of 1001 Nights. My name is Joanna Godwin Seidl. I run Vienna Theatre Project, and I will be your host for this evening. Welcome everybody, I hope you are all very well. Beautiful music, isn't that music beautiful? Let me see if I can get myself, oh see, well I did that and then it got lighter again. Now I move away and it gets dark again. I'll just not move. All right, now, when it was the 181st night, Scheherazade said, "It hath reached me, O auspicious king, that the Ifrit Danash and the Ifritah Maimunah stinted not bearing Princess Budur till they descended and laid her on the couch beside Kamar al-Zaman. Then they uncovered both their faces, and they were the likest of all folk, each to other, as they were twins or an only brother and sister. And indeed they were a seduction to the pious, even as saith of them the poet Al-Mubin, O heart, be not thy love confined to one, lest thou by doting or disdain be undone. Love all the fair, and thou shalt find with them. If this be lost, to thee that shall be won." And quoth another, "Mine eyes beheld two lying on the ground. Both had I loved, if on these eyne they lay. So Danash and Maymunah gazed on them a while, and he said, "By Allah, my lady, it is good. My mistress is assuredly the fairer." And she replied, "Not so, my beloved is the fairer. Woe to thee, O Danash! Art blind of eye, and heart that lean from fat thou canst not depart? Wilt thou hide the truth? Dost thou not see his beauty and loveliness and fine stature and symmetry? Out on thee! Hear what I purpose to say in praise of my beloved, and, if thou be a lover true to her thou dost love, do thou the like for her thou lovest." Then she kissed Kamar al-Zaman again and again between the eyes and improvised this ode. How is this? Why should the blamer abuse thee in his pride? What shall console my heart for thee, that art but slender bough? A nature cold eye thou hast, that witcheth far and wide. From pure platonic love, of it deliverance none I trow. Those glances fell as plundering Turk, to heart such havoc deal, as never havoc scimitar made keenest at the curve. On me thou layest load of love, the heaviest which I feel, so feeble grown that under weight of chemiset I swerve. My love for thee, as wottest well is habit, and my love is nature. To all others false is all the love I tender. Now, were my heart but like to thine, I never would say no. Only my wasted form is like thy waist, so gracious, slender. Out on him, who in beauty's robe for moon-like charms have fame, and who is claimed by mouth of men as marvel of his tribe. Of man, what manner may he be? Ask they who flight and blame, for whom thy heart is so distressed. I only cry, describe. O stone intempered heart of him, learn of his yielding grace, and bending form, to show me grace in yielding to consent. O my prince beautiful, thou hast an overseer in place, who irketh me, and eke a groom whose wrong with doth ne'er relent. Indeed, he lieth, who hath said that all of loveliness was pent in Joseph. In thy charms there's many and many a Jo. The genii dread me when I stand and face to face address, but meeting thee, my fluttering heart its shame and terror show. I take a virgin semblance, and I turn from thee in fright, but more aversion I assume. More love from me dost claim. That hair of jetty black, that brow ere raying radiant light, those eyne wherein white justless black, that derfling daintily frame. When Danash heard the poesy which Maymunah spake in praise of her beloved, he joyed with exceeding joy, and marvelled with excessive wonderment. And Scheherazade perceived the dawn of day, and ceased saying her permitted say. Good evening, Valerie. Good evening. I can't sing. My old eyes. Is it Sophia? Good evening, or Safra? I do apologise. I can't quite see it. Safar. I hope I said that right. I hope you are all very well. Good evening, everyone. It is lovely to see you tonight. Let me just get a little bit of water. That looks a bit comely, doesn't it? Oh, excuse me. I was going to grab a boob tube on. I just decided to get super comfortable this evening. So, hello, everybody. We shall carry on. Now, when it was the 182nd night, Scheherazade said, "It hath reached me, O auspicious king, that when the Ifrit Danash heard the poesy which Maymunah spake in praise of her beloved, he shook for exceeding joy and said, Thou hast celebrated thy beloved in song, and thou hast done well in praise of him whom thou lovest. And there is no help for it, but that I also in my turn do my best to infame my mistress and recite somewhat in her honour." Then the Ifrit went up to the Lady Budur, and kissing her between the eyes, looked at Maymunah and at his beloved princess, and recited the following verses, albeit he had no skill in poesy. "Love for my fair they chide in angry way, unjust for ignorance, yea, unjustest they. Are lavish favours on the love-mad whom taste of thy wrath and parting woe shall slay. In sooth, for love I'm wet with railing tears that rail mine eyelids' blood, thou mightest say. No marvel what I bear for love, 'tis marvel that any know my me while thou art away. Unlawful were our union did I doubt, thy love or heart incline to other may." And eke these words: "I fed eyes on their steed by the valley's side, and I'm slain, and my slayer aside hath hied. Grief wine have I drunken, and down my cheeks dance tears to the song of the camel guide. For union blessing I strive through shore, in Budur and Saad all my bliss shall bide. What I not which of three gave me most to plain, so hear them numbered, ere thou decide. Those sworders eyne that lancer her figure o'er, or ring-mailed locks with her forehead hide. Quoth she, and I ask of her, what so whites, or abide in towns or in desert ride, to me, in thy heart I dwell, look there. Quoth I, where's my heart? Ah, where? Ah, where? Let me see if I can make myself lighter again. Excuse me, everyone, I'm just touching my screen and hoping it's not quite happening. When Maymunah heard these lines from the Ifrit, she said, "Thou hast done well, O Danash, but say, thou which of the two is the handsomer?" And he answered, "My mistress, Budur is handsomer than thy beloved." Cried Maymunah, Thou liest, O accursed. Nay, my beloved is more beautiful than thine." But Danash persisted, "Mine is the fairer." And they ceased not to wrangle and challenge each other's words, till Maymunah cried out at Danash, and would have laid violent hand on him. But he humbled himself to her, and, softening his speech, said, "Let not the truth be a grief to thee, and cease we this talk, for all we say is to testify in favour of our lovers. Rather, Let us withdraw the claim, and seek we one who shall judge fairly between us which of the two be fairer, and by his sentence we will abide. I agree to this, answered she, and she smote the earth with her foot. She smote with the earth with her foot, whereupon there came out of it an ifrit blind of an eye, humpbacked and scurvy-skinned, with eye orbits slit and down his face. On his head were 7 horns, and 4 locks of hair fell to his heels. His hands were pitchfork-like, and his leg mast-like, and he had nails as claws of a lion, and feet as the hoofs of the wild ass. When the Ifrit rose out of the earth and sighted Maymunah, he kissed the ground before her, and standing with his hands clasped behind her said, "So, what is thy will, O mistress, O daughter of my king?" She replied, "O Cash, I would have thee judge between me and this accursed Danash." And she made known to him the matter, from first to last, whereupon the Ifrit Cash looked at the face of the youth, and then at the face of the girl, and saw them lying asleep, embraced, each with an arm under the other's neck, alike in beauty and loveliness, and equal in grace and goodliness. The Marid gazed long upon them, marvelling at their seemlihead, and after careful observing the twain, he turned to Maymunah and Danash, and repeated these couplets. "Go visit her thou lovest, and regard not the words detractors utter. Envious churls can never favour love. Oh, sure the merciful, ne'er may a thing more fair to look upon than 2 fond lovers in each other's arms, speaking their passion in a mute embrace. When heart has turned to heart, the fools would part them, strike idly on cold steel. So when thou'st found one purely, wholly thine, accept her true heart, and live for her alone. Oh, thou that blamest the love-struck for their love, give over thy talk. How canst thou minister to a mind deceased?" Then he turned again to Maymunah and Danash, and said to them, "By Allah, if you will have the truth, I tell you fairly, the twain be equal in beauty and loveliness and perfect grace and goodliness, nor can I make any difference between them on account of their being man and woman. But I have another thought, which is that we wake them, each of them in turn, without the knowledge of the other, and whichever is the more enamoured shall be held inferior in seemliness and seemlihead and comeliness." Quoth Maymunah, "Right is this recking." And quoth Danash, "I consent to this." Then Danash changed himself to the form of a flea and bit Kamar al-Zaman, whereupon he started from sleep in a fright. Now, and Shahrazad perceived the dawn of day and ceased to say her permitted say. Now, when it was the 183rd night, we're going at a fast pace, ladies and gents, today, she said, "It hath reached me, O auspicious king, that Danash changed himself into the form of a flea and bit Kamar al-Zaman, who started from sleep in a fright and rubbed the bitten part, his neck, and scratched it hard because of the smart. Then, turning sideways, he found lying by him something whose breath was sweeter than musk, and whose skin was softer than cream. Hereat marvelled he with great marvel, and he sat up and looked at what lay behind him. When he saw it to be a young lady beside him, like an union pearl, or a shining sun, or a dome seen from afar on a well-built wall, for she was 5 feet tall, with a shape like the letter, bosomed high and rosy-cheeked, even as saith of her the poet, 4 things which ne'er can join unless it be to storm my vitals and to shed my blood, brow white as day and tresses black as night, cheeks rosy red and lips which smiles o'erflood. And also, quoth another, a moon she rises, willow wand she waves, breathes ambergris and gares a gazelle. Meseems that sorrow woes my heart and wins, and when she wendeth, hastes therein to dwell. And when Kamar al-Zaman saw the Lady Budur, daughter of King Gaur, and her beauty and comeliness, she was sleeping clad in a shift of Venetian silk, without her petticoat trousers, and wore on her head a kerchief embroidered with gold and set with stones of price. Her ears were hung with twin earrings, which shone like constellations. Around her neck was a collar of union pearls, of size unique, past the competence of any king. When he saw this, his reason was confounded, and natural heat began to stir in him. Allah awoke in him the desire of coition, and he said to himself, what so Allah willeth, that shall be, and what he willeth not, shall never be. So saying, he put a hand out, and turning her over, loosed the collar of her chemise. Then arose before his sight her bosom, with its breasts like double globes of ivory, whereat his inclination for her redoubled, and he desired her with exceeding hot desire. He would have awakened her, but she would not wake, for Danash had made her sleep heavy. So she shook her and moved her, saying, O my beloved, awake and look at me. I am Kamar al-Zaman. But she woke not, neither moved her head. Whereupon he considered her case for a long hour, and said to himself, if I guess aright, this is the damsel to whom my father would have married me. These 3 years past I have refused her. But inshallah, God willing, as soon as it is dawn, I will say to him, marry me to her, that I may enjoy her. And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of day, and ceased saying her permitted say. Well, dear friends, that, excuse me, was tonight's reading of 1001 Nights. I did decide to leave you because this story, hopefully, is going to be so much about love that I have decided to leave you tonight in these troubled times, because love is so important when things are not going so well. And I just wanted to read you some beautiful love poems. So this is a love poem by a very famous British poet, female British poet, called Elizabeth Barrett Browning, who lived from 1806 to 1861. And it's a sonnet from the Portuguese, number 14. If thou must love me, let it be for naught, except love's sake only. Do not say, I love her for her smile, her look, her way, of speaking gently for a trick of thought that falls in well with mine and certes brought. A sense of pleasant ease on such a day, for these things in themselves, beloved, may be changed, or change for thee, and love so wrought may be unwrought so. Neither love me for thine own dear pity's wiping my cheeks dry, since one might well forget to weep who bore thy comfort long and whose thy love thereby. But love me for love's sake, that evermore thou mayst love on through love's eternity. And then I am going to leave you with one final poem, and it is actually my favourite love poem. Let me bring myself a little bit closer. My favourite, oh there you go, you see, competing with the candles again. Let's see what I can do. I should have moved out. There we go. You see, I shouldn't have moved anything. So, and did you see, by the way, did you see I've got my little Aladdin's lamp up there? Let me see if I can make myself lighter. Probably not. Maybe I have to do, there we go. Pressing the right thing, that's the thing to do. Right. Okay. So this, everybody, is my all-time favourite love poem, and I will post it afterwards so that you can see it. I'm going to read it in German because it is meant to be in German, and the English translation is so awful, but I will post both afterwards. And it's a very, very beautiful poem by Morgenstern called Es ist Nacht. I'll read it to you in German because I can speak German as well. Okay, and I'm going to play that beautiful music I played at the beginning. Here we go. And I'm not going to say anything at the end of this. I'm already going to now wish you many, many blessings. I hope whatever news we get in Austria tomorrow is not too drastic, because we're going to find out tomorrow about the lockdown. Apparently, wherever you are in the world, I hope you are keeping very, very well. I hope wherever you are in the world, you are keeping very, very well and looking after yourselves. So once again, many blessings from me and many salams. And I'm going to leave you with a very famous German poem by Morgenstern called Es ist Nacht. And it is my personal favorite love poem. Es ist Nacht und mein Herz kommt zu dir. Hält's nicht aus mehr bei mir. Legt sich dir auf die Brust wie ein Stein, sinkt hinein, zu dem Deinen hinein. Dort erst kommt es zur Ruhe, liegt am Grund seines ewigen Du. So, that was for you. Good night, everybody. Take care. Look after yourselves. Many blessings. Bye-bye.